huckleberry. We can go and stake our claim down by the creek. And we'll have a piece of heaven, put some buns in that oven, and fill up our pockets with hopes and dreams. Thanks, guys.
Kendra, you're the best of the best of the best of the best. Please come and play for us at the end of the show, too. Don't go nowhere. She's going to play at the end, too. Are we live yet? We are live. Welcome to the stage, everybody tuned in. This is the Nirvana City podcast, live from Elixart. Sharon, welcome to the stage. Chess, welcome to the stage. Brian, thank you for setting this all up. Brian is the best. These drinks are amazing. Thank you, Elixart. We're going to have some giveaways throughout the night, too. Sharon, you remember we talked about the giveaways? Cool. That's gonna be fun. But let's thank you, Kendra, again for playing. That was amazing. We like to feature a local artist every other week when we have our live podcast. We feature a local artist to come and play and bless us up, and I'm hoping she comes back because she is just amazing. She writes all of her own material too, which is just super profound. I feel like I found gold when I met her today. So yeah, so we're gonna have a conversation today about something that is very controversial for some reason. Are chemtrails real? Chess. Let's tune in together. I think it's important. We're going to drop in.
Okay, fam. Welcome to the live streaming panel of the Nirvana City podcast. Welcome back, Greg. Welcome back to town.
Thank you so much. I love this place so much. Every day I fall more and more in love with Nirvana City.
And welcome to the stage, Chess.
All right.
So
What's up, everybody?
We're gonna try to transition the space into more of like a community conversation now. If some of the conversations at the bar could kind of quiet themselves so we can direct the audio this way.
Mama Sharon, let's do 3 ohms together. Tap in. Everyone.
So yeah, we like to actually, Greg, I'd love to direct some loving energy your way. I know you've been going through some healing, and the conversation's going to make its way. That's going to make its way into the conversation tonight. So anyone who's listening to me now, I just want to bring our hands to our heart to begin. And we're going to tune into the frequency of sending love and healing to a very special person in this room who initiated this project, Gregory. So if we can, from our hearts to his body,
all
send
glories
some
to
love,
my guru right here.
Send some love.
I work for him.
Healing, protective light. We love you, Greg. We're happy to have you back. We're grateful to be here.
Thank you. I love being here with you.
Nirvana City.
Dog bless you all. Dog bless you all. Ruby.
So we let us start with 3 deep breaths like we usually do to kind of unify the space. So if we can all just, wherever you are in your day, wherever you are in your week, wherever you are in your mind, take a long exhale and let all of that out to come to this present moment. And then take a nice, natural, deep inhalation through your nose. And a long exhale again out. We'll take another deep breath in. And even longer, drawn out exhale. Ground ourselves into this community space, into this present moment, into this conversation together. And another breath in. And this time we'll Om together. It might take 3 times to unify the Om. So let's take a breath in again. Om. Yeah, we can just kind of hover in this space for a moment, connecting with our heart and our reason for being here this exact time, in this place, in this space. And
Yeah, Sharon, Mama Sharon, you're the best. The queen. And Brother Coulter, we love you. Thank you for being such a big part of launching this podcast. We're on episode number 5 today. And we're live today, thanks to Brian. And this is something that's just an experiment, and it's really special that we've come 5 episodes into it already. And this topic of chemtrails and geoengineering, I just want to find solutions. How do we find solutions? Chess, you're an expert in the field, and so are so many. We've all had our...
Chess, do you want to introduce yourself for a minute? And
Yeah, I'm Chess. This is my first time being part of the panel. Thank you guys for bringing me on. It was definitely a topic that I wanted to jump on that I wouldn't say I'm an expert at, but I have, just a lot of care about our environment and our air and our soil and our water. And it seems to be a lot of growing awareness, and it seems like people are waking up to the fact that there's things being dropped down on us, many little things that our eyes can't perceive, but it comes from a cloud that's made. And it feels really good to me knowing that there's people looking up and wondering, what the hell's going on? You know, this isn't normal. And just recently I saw on just some broad news channel, they were talking about 12 new types of clouds.
How exciting.
You know? And no word about that these 12 clouds are made, you know. So, but yeah, if you guys all know this, this is a panel covering chemtrails, and I think the question was, are they real?
Yes, are they real, Chess?
does anyone in this room think chemtrails are not real?
I think nothing's real.
Shaman Steve says he thinks nothing's real. I like that a lot. Everything is possible.
Chemtrails are real. It's part of an
Get on that mic.
Which mic?
Right here.
There's one. We've got an extra
Welcome
mic
to
here,
the
so-
stage, Shaman Steve, healer, master, guru, one of my dearest, oldest friends on planet Earth.
Give thanks, brethren.
You're such an amazing healer,
Give thanks,
body
bro.
worker, angel, musician.
Give thanks,
Are,
my man.
are chemtrails real, Shaman Steve?
Yeah, I think they're very real, and I think they're intended to dumb us down and to make us sick and die prematurely. It's said that there's fluoride and heavy metals. I myself would say I have a chemical sensitivity. If I'm around too much bleach or toxic paint or toxic materials my entire life, it's immediately giving me headaches and
I
nausea.
wonder why, because it's fucking poison.
It's poison. It's poison. And the same, big pharma companies that want to keep people addicted to pharmaceuticals and keep people sick and treat the symptom instead of the root cause. There's definitely an agenda to make money there. And same with the chemtrails, and same with fluoride in toothpaste, and fluoride in water, and fluoride in Auschwitz Nazi camps.
Yeah, I'm sure,
Because
I'm sure Big
kept-
Pharma's in on it too.
Yeah, and because it kept the prisoners docile. If they're docile, they're not going to rebel. So if we're activated and our third eye is activated, all of our chakras are activated, we're unified in a field of consciousness, we're unstoppable. But if we're having fluoride dumped on us on a regular basis, easy to control. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I want to start back
Thank
with what you said initially, Chess, about the don't look up kind of thing, like that we're sort of all expected to silently accept something that's not really understood. But in my research on this subject, I came across this documentary that I think there was like some more recent information spliced into it, but it's called The Dimming, and you can watch it in its full length on YouTube. And because I was wondering, like, the origin, like I always wonder, it's kind of like getting to the...
You just hit on it. They call it chemotherapy for Earth.
Well,
they're trying to block out the sun, but they're doing it with a bunch of chemicals and biochemical waste.
right.
And they're saying, oh, we don't know what that does to you when we drop it on you.
That's true. And one of the main things that I learned was, like, if you are Googling chemtrails, for example, you're gonna get a bunch of interesting and divergent stories on it. But if you Google the scientific term that they've been using to research this subject for a while, which is solar radiation management, you get a lot of official website data and science on the subject.
But beyond even data that you can research on the computer, everybody's got their own personal data that they've been through for whoever knows how long they've been doing this.
Well,
It's been going on quite a while.
that documentary said that at least in terms of our country doing some geoengineering, that the first time that started was March 1st, that's my birthday, March 1st, 1927.
It's been
And it
going
was
on.
like a post, or I guess 27 was post-World War I, pre-World War II. But they were figuring out some technology for the next World War. And by the time the Vietnam War came around, they engineered this, I guess what was called like a rainmaking program in order to increase the monsoon rains in the Vietnam War to have a geological advantage and wash out the enemy and have technical advantage from the skies. And the initial chemical combination that was used for that was silver and lead iodide, which eventually, evolved into I mean, the 2025 technology would probably be more called like weather modification, in order to, again, like on the surface level, increase rain, increase snowfall, make sure the $1 billion ski mountains stay open, all of this stuff.
You gotta have that.
So it's like, it's, you know, at this point in popular technology these days, it's definitely like a follow the money kind of away. Yeah, but this was
Always follow the money.
what was stunning to me, again, when I was like looking this up, day one, which was like a month ago, was I just looked up that term, solar radiation management, and one of the articles in Time magazine came up with the headline, "Why Billionaires Are Obsessed with Blocking Out the Sun." It's a cool article, but one of the things towards the concluding end says, for one thing, a lot of these people made their money in tech, and they've absorbed the ethos that neat engineering fixes are the solution for most of life's ills. And then there's the fact that addressing climate change is going to take a truly gargantuan, global, united effort. So part of that involves changing the things that we already do, but part of it may also entail much more fundamental changes around what and how we consume, an understanding that society can simply exist as a project to extract ever greater quantities of resource without eventually hitting some sort of wall.
Boom! We hit that wall. We're there. What do you tell people? No, Shaman, one more question for you. What do you tell people when they ask, but why would the government do that?
I mean, why would they do a lot of things?
I mean, yeah, look at the receipts to every conspiracy theory. Chess, you want to go there? It's like the 9/11 check, COVID lab leak check.
The list is so long, it goes forever.
Some more receipts would be the patents. I do have a list of patents. and
I
it's
know who
I
owns
think it's
mine.
about like 2,000 patents
And Bill Gates
for
owns
the
it.
geoengineering, you know, and so, yeah, there's the receipt right there. Look at that, and people want to say, oh, well, it's just condensation coming off the back of the plane, but yet
Why wasn't that happening the whole time?
Tennessee, you know, they just got it through legislation that they're going to ban geoengineering. They're not going to allow any more experimentation with atmospheric, what do you call it, injection. So does that mean that it's a no-fly zone over Tennessee if there's no contrails? You know, okay, that doesn't make sense. And there's 15 other states that are proposing to push this ban through, or this bill through as
Yeah,
well.
What about-
hold on, those states sound really good to me. A state that bans chemtrails, it's really attractive.
Yep.
It is. It's like when we have blue, clear skies in California, it's like, holy shit, they gave us a day. Today there was real clouds, actual real clouds. You're like
today.
wow. Fuck, it's beautiful.
Well, then there's the common sense thing. If it's condensation trails, why haven't those been happening since airplanes have been in the sky? Why is this a phenomenon we've been experiencing since when? Like post-millennium? What was it, like late 2000s we started seeing them?
But it's not a question, does it exist? Because they're not trying to hide it anymore.
No.
All mainstream news talks about how great it is. It's not a secret. They're not trying to hide it.
What about the weird designs they do? At first few years, it
hold
was
on. They're always
just
fucking-
lines.
they're always
Now
fucking-
there's like full freaking geometries.
They always do X's right over top of me. I'm like, what the fuck?
What's that about?
Yeah, one of the other quotes that was striking to me in that documentary was one of the engineers who was diagnosing the particulates from elevation at like 20,000 feet after the chemtrails had like settled into, you know, the next whatever level of stratosphere. And this line was, he said, there's clear evidence of patterned skies being induced by the emissions of aircraft. It's just like totally out there. it's written everywhere. It's like written in the sky. So the constant question to me is like this: what's with the don't look up thing? Like, why? What is that?
Because you're looking at your phone.
So back to solutions, if we may.
Yes, solutions.
The first solution, in my opinion, is a heavy metal detox protocol, because that is the one thing that we can collectively accomplish in a relatively short amount of time. It should be considered as basic as brushing as one teeth. Then, only then will the collective act from any state of clarity and freedom.
Speak up, speak
Okay,
up.
I'll just start over. The first solution, in my opinion, is a heavy metal detox protocol, because that is one thing we can collectively accomplish in a relatively short amount of time. It should be considered as basic as brushing one's own teeth.
Hallelujah.
Then and only then will the collective act from any state of clarity and freedom from a deep frequency psychosis. With our feet on the ground and the metal out of the skies, we can begin to act from a state of pure mind, rather than acting like an antenna full of aluminum oxide and other receptors of foreign frequencies, and begin acting human.
Thanks, Brandon. Yeah.
You could drop the mic, dude.
Yeah, Brandon, Archangel Brandon in the house. We love you, brother.
You know, I definitely do sense that, and I'm sure it can be confirmed factually as well, that it seems like the electromagnetic frequencies that are continuing to increase on the earth are definitely more and more affected by when I have more heavy metals in my body. Like, I was on a round of antibiotics this summer, and it just seemed like there were like, what do you call it, like flare-ups of like feeling.
There's conduction happening within your own body.
Yeah,
you
right,
know,
some
you're-
kind of
you're a
chemical
conduit
reactions.
now, because we all naturally from this have it in our blood, or it's in our skin, without even the vaccines. You know, like, oh, well, if you don't want to take the injections, then we're just gonna blast you at the sky. You know, and you can breathe it now.
This summer, I had the first experience ever of feeling like I was being microwaved. Like, it was hot, but everybody had the same sensation of like, this is warming me from the inside out, and it's not normal.
Freaky.
So there's that. We can definitely feel it. And if you can't feel it, I would definitely suggest cleaning out your gut and your colon, because that is your brain. That is your first mind. That is your intuition. If you're numb and you cannot feel these things, well, there's definitely some detox that you can do to also clear your mind. For example, like schizophrenia. Countless cases have been cured just from getting rid of tapeworms, parasites. And tapeworms also, parasites in general also feed on heavy metals. So it's like it's a conjunctivitis of unfortunate events, really.
I think we should change the name of this podcast to the Ninjas Only Podcast. Ninjas Only. 7th degree black belts and up, otherwise fuck off. You'll get there. We all get there. But that's really why we're talking about this, is to get us all there so we can really make a change. Because I personally, it's heartbreaking, but they are doing it, and we have to take our broken hearts and make art out of the pieces. And that's the situation, because when you realize, man, it is happening, and I would rather put my head in the sand and be like, nah, it doesn't affect me, but it's not a good thing, so we gotta find a positive way to bring everybody together to make a change.
My brother Greg, keep your eye on Polaris and off the fallen stars of the neon lights.
Yeah, Polaris.
So I wonder if you, Jess, or if anyone has like an idea of the nanoparticulates, like what the patents are, what the chemicals are, and what the end game is for like systematically destroying all of life support systems by blocking out the sun.
I don't mean to curse so much, but it's like they're doing different batches all the time.
Yeah.
Different areas, different batches of stuff they're dropping.
To block out the sun is like what they're saying on the surface level as far as return of investment kind of wavelength goes. But what about like where it's landing in the soil and what's happening? And like, it just, it makes me think of those big weather events or even the wildfires or the...
Yeah, I think we're like addressing two things here is weather modification, but then also we're being crop dusted. And I think there's days where we got to look at it and be like, all right, well, they didn't really change the weather there. And we just have now clouds, so we're blocked out here by the sun. But that's the part that worries me. It's like, yeah, I want to play God and play with weather and stuff, but I try hard to be healthy, and we have no control over the air that we're breathing. So, it's time that we take a stand and rise above, because the thing is I've noticed is that it's just gotten so much worse over the last 10 years. It's just like every day they're like, oh, well, they're not noticing. They don't care, so we'll just keep adding more, add more, add more.
Dude, in LA, I would really pay attention. I was a sky watcher. I'd sit on my balcony in Venice Beach, right on the boardwalk, and watch the sky all day long for like years, every day. And I'd watch level 10 dumping, and on those days my brain would swell up. and then I had heavy metal tests, and of course I had all this heavy metal poisoning that I'm still getting out right now. But
yeah, you're trying to detox
metals
that you probably
I am
got from
detoxing.
there,
I
but
am
then
healed.
you're just continuously intaking it all. That's rough, man. I mean, I love the idea of cleansing, but that would help for us to wake up in that moment. But then we're just going to get dumped back on the next day. So it's like what are we going to do?
That's why I said it's like brushing your teeth.
So Brandon, what do we do first? Right now.
Cilantro.
Taking the reins.
Activated charcoal.
Yeah.
Help me with parsley.
Urine therapy.
I wasn't going to go there, but I drink all of my own urine throughout the day, every day, and I've done it for 2 years. And I never feel better than when that's happening, and I feel clear. And it is true that urine is negatively charged, which means that it pulls out toxins. And
you're one of the healthiest ninjas I know. This dude could climb a 500-foot tree with like barefoot and no gloves.
While eating apples and peanut butter for days on end.
So yeah, the solution is follow the money, and then once you find where the money is, and then you take that money and turn it into something creative. Because the money is our tax dollars. We're paying for it.
Yeah.
And that's why people like Bill Gates own the patents. Because it's easy money. Easy money. So petroleum byproducts, they used to be regarded as waste, and the companies would have to pay for its deposit. Now, instead of having to pay for their chemicals to be discarded, which is very expensive, now they get paid to dump it on us.
Recycle.
Scheming from every angle possible, I guess.
So I feel like it's really time for solutions, which, for me, no taxation without representation. I want to vote on every single thing. I want to vote on every single thing. Hey, do you want people spraying the air above you? Yes or no? No!
I mean, so while Doge is doing, cleanup,
That's
that'd
a
be a
whole other-
huge budget cut right
That's
there.
a
I
whole
couldn't
other-
imagine how much money they're spending on this program, So, I mean, maybe that's one of the solutions if we can get enough voices together
Elon,
to
you
hit
hear
up
me?
Elon and be like, yo, boy, let's take care of some real shit here,
You want to be the savior of the world, Elon? Stop geoengineering chemtrails.
Yeah.
Wait, how would he do that? Tell him again how to do that. Chess, how did he do
I know
that?
Elon could stop it. you
By
know?
defunding him, making it illegal.
But I mean, I
I
wouldn't
think- I
doubt
think-
that he's
I
part
think
of it
that-
all, you know?
I think just period, the solution is being able to vote on everything. That's democracy.
I think there should have to be an investigation, like a true investigation on where's it really coming from,
We
what's
already
its intent.
figured it out, though.
There has been a true investigation because I've heard there's speculations and hearsay, and there's been
There-
some photography of the inside of the plane, and it
Oh,
shows
no,
this big chamber.
there's more than that.
But how
now.
much like real, honest investigation has been committed? You know,
Tremendous.
like
There's a lot of like, army corporals that are coming back out on the other side.
yeah.
Whistleblowers, yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, I think that they're. I'm trying to like recall back to this moment where it was like they were spraying. I think they were spraying on the geist of killing out this deadly mosquito virus in Santa Cruz and Marin counties.
Sounds like horse.
When I like lived there.
Run screaming.
And there was like a cohort of moms that were getting testing for like extremely high, like in those two counties for breast cancer with that investigation. So like moms and strollers and babies. This is when I was like teaching kids yoga in Marin County and Oakland and San Francisco. And there was this huge movement of moms, like, really liberal moms in Santa Cruz and Marin that were just like, shut it down. And they shut it down.
Oh,
But
I
I
never
think
heard-
like we're in this strange liminal political
Thank you,
time.
moms. Thank you, moms.
Yeah, word to the
Yeah.
moms. Always word to the moms.
I think it's
They're
got to be a
like-
lot more word to the moms at this
We
point.
get shit done.
I think moms have to steer us, guide us. We give you the reins, mom, and moms always had the reins, really.
Yeah,
True.
we definitely hold the moral compass.
Yeah.
And I don't.
Well, we're on the right track because you're here, and it's all about giving a voice to the voiceless, and the people are not really being.
I think it's kind of about this like sacred rage, maybe a little more that like
Yeah.
is
serve the people.
is waiting for the right time to emerge en masse.
What-
And I mean, like, I have to tell you guys that I was super hard PMSing right after the inauguration when Elon did that salute. And the next day, I was like, I want to seek out a Cybertruck and vandalize the Cybertruck.
I was like, Sharon, don't do it. I told her that.
Someone talked me down. I
She had
think
she
I
had
like
s-
Googled
spray
if there
paint
was
in her
security
hand.
cameras in Cybertruck so
Yep,
that I
yep.
like if I was doing it in front of my kids. But anyway,
But you were
that's
filming it.
happening now. That's happening now, and it just looks like this political satire is being played out in front of us.
It's all puppetry.
Yeah, it's all performative kind of stuff, but I think that kind of extreme activism from this like place of sacred rage, like we're done with this shit, and we're gonna like be like somewhat dignified initially, and then we're just gonna like let it all out. I don't know how to like find that mass in Nirvana City.
I mean, it
Nirvana
could start
City.
right here in this little town. We can go right over to the bridge and start protesting. I mean, look at the power of BLM, you know. And
Yeah.
this is affecting everybody. It doesn't matter what color you are. And so, I mean, that was probably pushed, you know. It wasn't such a mom and pop movement, you know. It wasn't so roots as what we think, you know. I think there was a lot of, you know, it was broadcasted all over the news. They might just, you know, hush it all up and, you know, if we try, but I think if, you know, we brought protests maybe to this town, you know, like maybe we can do like a weekly movie playing here, you know, if we just like keep some momentum going and keep energy in it, then I feel like it'll build because I am seeing a rise.
Yeah.
Like on my Facebook feed, I'm seeing people all the time taking their own pictures and like, what is going on here? I'm done. Like, get me out of here, you know? So
Yeah, like where's my
I think we
point
got
of
the power
entry
now,
into the
you know?
activism part of it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
Yeah,
the point of entry is we need to create actual roadmaps and present them so people can easily accomplish solutions for every problem. And
we can get permits for our protests, just do it legit all the way through, and
I think
you know.
more than protesting, it's about being more and more creative and create art.
Yeah, I agree. I think we're kind of really starving for, like, what do you call it? Allegory, like telling the right stories in the right contexts.
Where they're pitching forks.
Because the protest, even, I mean, we saw,
That's a good scene.
like, shout out to Cory Booker, who did that 25-hour talking straight.
Oh no,
on the
I
Senate
can't.
floor.
Who the hell would listen to that?
But yeah, again, like
Nobody.
performative, great job doing the ritualized thing that the system has been taught to do, but there's really nothing radical other than the fact that, like, a black man from New Jersey in a black suit and a black tie took that stage in that time to be like, fuck this shit, this is not normal, and I'm like not gonna keep doing business as usual. So that was like a break. I thought that was a break in the timeline. But then when you look at it in the grand scheme of things, it's another like pomp and circumstance, ritualized, performative thing on the floor of the Senate.
I've had enough. Yeah, right. Nothing changes. He's just another puppet. And until we can vote on everything, we're screwed because current day governmental systems are basically modern day slavery.
But that's also that's like something.
Until we can vote on everything.
Okay,
Until there's
so
pure democracy.
so let's talk about. Do you remember the Occupy movement? 'Cause
I
was, like, a big
love
part
the
of that.
Occupy movement.
And so that was like.
You know what happened?
What I think happened was there was no cohesive leader.
You're onto something. Continue.
So it was a lot of voices that had a lot of things to say, and every voice had equal opportunity to say that. And it was like a revolutionary moment because it felt radical at that time to take the pomp and circumstance and performative bullshit out of the equation. But at the end of the day, there were just little camps across every big city with no cohesive goal.
I need more organization.
Or structured organization.
Here's what
or
happened.
leadership.
They got the attention of the big guys. And once they got the attention, they didn't know what to ask for. If they got the attention, and they're like, wah, wah, wah. They didn't know what to ask for, so it just went away. But that was so powerful and so beautiful at its peak. I got to go to the downtown LA one. And I was like, whoa, this is some energy. I love humanity so much. And I never wanted it to end. Now I feel like Nirvana City's giving me my own little version of Occupy. We've occupied this wonderful little town, and we love it.
Yeah, I agree that there's definitely a concentrated consciousness in this community that we can capitalize on with the right structural organization, which is really hard for West Coast Native people. And strong leadership, which is like one of the biggest like post-election complaints that I have is like everybody is just like silent and writing strong letters of complaints or performing 24-hour filibusters on the Senate floor as like the radical gesture of trying to break this timeline. And I don't know. I'm like ready to vandalize Cybertrucks.
No, you're not.
No, let's go occupy
You know
Beale
why?
Air Force.
There's something much more fun to do, which is create a new world, create a new reality, take charge, take the reins, we are healed, we have changed, we have formed a new world where there is harmony and respect and freedom to have a vote, to have a say. So I keep bringing back the concept of no taxation without representation.
Yeah, here.
That worked back in the day.
Yeah, let's throw the Teslas into the Boston
No,
Harbor.
no. We don't want to hurt the fish. You don't want to hurt the fish. Those things are
You don't want to
toxic.
piss off Elon. He'll send his robots. So, those of you that just walked in, we're doing a panel, and we're just up here discussing geoengineering, chemtrails. We have some extra space on the couches if you feel inclined to jump in and tell your story, your testament. Yeah, back to the discussion here. Should we start talking? I mean, I think general consensus is that they are real, that it is happening, and it's not a conspiracy. It's legitimate. They've been doing it for years. I think we all can agree on that. You know, I think what we're trying to come up with right now is some solutions. I know it's possible that we could change this thing around before it gets too bad, where the pH level under soil is just so high that we can't. I mean,
first off, do you even know what pH means?
What's
Tell
pH mean?
Anybody? Don't. You looked it up, didn't you? Potential hydrogen. I know it is. It's potential hydrogen. Our whole lives we're like pH. Them pH levels are high. Right? You don't even know what pH means. We have to get informed.
Well, I know
we have to know how things work.
Alkalized and acidic.
Yeah, for sure. What were we talking about?
I was just talking about the pH levels of the soil, you know, because there has been a lot of tests and the soil has been affected. And we can probably agree that might be affecting the tree's growth and maybe...
all life systems on Earth. Yeah, I
everything.
mean, blocking out the sun is the source of all energy, all
That's
life.
just itself, without all the chemicals, yeah.
I'm a sun
Just
worshiper.
blocking out the sun.
So is my son. Yeah, people don't have the right to block out our sun. And the sun is providing information, DNA activation, energy,
That's a very good point.
and freshness, and lithium. I sun gaze for many years. I really need to get back to it.
Mm-hmm.
It's so beautiful. The first 30 minutes and the last 30 minutes of every day.
It's a game changer.
That's a great practice.
Yeah.
Upside down with your pants off. Because
Say no more.
That's level 3 activation.
no, you gotta get sun on your butt.
You can't do that butthole gazing without that sun, right? Come on.
I think a solution would be really learning everything we can about the chemtrails. Like, you know, Sharon shared about the parents in the Bay getting together and actually putting a stop to it. And there's stuff they found out about that. And so I think there'd be like needing to gather the facts. Like even myself, I admit I don't know enough about it. I can say that I feel awkward and off when there's a heavy layer of chemtrails. I personally feel some fog and fatigue and maybe nausea.
And you have to wipe it off your car window shield.
Yeah. And I hear other people say that. I'm feeling off, and they're like, yeah, I feel tired, lethargic today, and like I can't see the sky. I could see a bunch of chemtrails. So that's like our felt experience, but I think, like I said, like some investigation and, you know, in creating a collective that would actually educate and start local and try to build out from that. And then, so the more informed we become, this actually encourages me to be like, I should get out and the computer and like read a little bit and try to find out some more. And if I gather some facts, then share those facts and then create a small movement that could become a big movement. And then if you have, you know, your local your town and all your local cities actually create maybe a petition or like a monthly meetup and build the awareness around it. And it's like anything, you need to gather, some momentum and have people come together and say, no, we're like the mothers did in the Bay. They were able to put a stop to it. Right? Did they do petitions or did they go to court? Like, how did they do that?
It's got to be signatures.
So it was petition.
It was like pushing the babies in the strollers on the streets and being like, we're not taking this.
Some
You're giving
protesting
You're giving us
yeah.
all breast cancer. Like, we can prove it.
Yeah. So I think that, like, gathering some proof and coming together, that's something I personally would participate
what
in.
he
like,
said is being receptive to being educated.
Yeah.
And
But also,
educating is
once you
big
get their
factor.
attention, you got to know what to ask for.
Yeah.
We've learned that lesson one time already with the Occupy movement failing.
Welcome, Sean.
It's good to be here with you guys.
Hey, Brother Sean.
I was just tending bar, but I wanted to jump in for a second. So I'm pretty familiar with the history of weather modification. It's been going on since at least the late 1700s with hot air balloons, cloud seeding, make it rain over farms. And I think a lot of our weather patterns being erratic are because they're fighting a bit of a losing game to try to get back to some kind of balance with weather by doing more and more and more and more. And it's been going on a couple hundred years now. And once planes were invented, a little more than 100 years ago, they started doing it more. And then once jets were invented, they started doing it high altitude. And I think kind of like someone's body who's an addict and they keep trying to add more things and add more things to hit some kind of balance. They really just need to stop messing with the weather, and I think it would be a pretty rough recovery period. But they're kind of chasing their own tail, trying to rebalance the weather that they have made erratic. And there's a lot deeper points of the chemtrails and what they're trying to accomplish, but the weather being erratic, I don't think is from people running their lawnmower or the cars even. It's mostly from this weather modification that's been going on a long time, and they don't really know how to stop. Like, they're not sure what would happen if they stopped cloud seeding or doing desertification kind of stuff.
I'll tell you what would happen. We'd feel great.
I
we,
think
we would feel so great every day. And you can still feel great every day, but it's much easier when the sky is clear and they're not being sprayed.
I think the earth would start healing itself if they stopped tomorrow.
For sure.
And that should be our biggest thing. It's just like we can't trust them to mess with the atmosphere.
Yeah, next thing you know, these same people are going to want to have a solution for that problem. So what's next, after that? I totally agree with Sean is saying. Just stop. Just let it go. If we could just cut the funding, if we can figure out, the source of the funding,
It's
that's
everyone
Doge.
at the top.
Let's get Doge in on that.
It's everyone at the top. That's fun.
Yeah, but I'm
True.
gonna Doge.
Yeah, seriously.
Here's doging Doge. Elon is the biggest receiver of taxpayer dollars in the history
Yes.
of American, government. Period.
Not even American.
So it's your tax dollar subsidies paying Elon that made him the richest man in the world. So the funny thing is, they love laughing at us. They're like, people are so stupid. But we're not. We're not stupid. We see what's going on. And essentially, hey man, do the right thing. And the right thing is to keep helping each other figure it out. Nobody figured it out yet. But we're going to figure it out. And it'd be great to have Elon and everybody else and anybody else who wants to be a part of positive movement
Hey, Elon was in my
solution.
Burning Man camp one year.
I
Yeah,
know
yeah.
someone's got to slip
I-
in more than
hit
ketamine.
him
He
up.
needs more LSD than ketamine
I think
with the
I think
savior complex thing, you know?
I think
More
Elon
Oh,
would
him,
be,
Elon?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Elon would be down to get down. I think he would. Yeah, regardless of him, there's no savior. You are the savior.
Guru.
Guruji is my savior, though. Right here.
I wanted to mention, I think a big part of the esoteric aspect of what's in the sky is the fact that it's reflective heavy metals, and people can see throughout evolution or even spiritual teachings talk about the sun changing the energy that hits the earth. The sun's getting different energy from the galaxy. It hits the earth different. Evolution takes jumps. That could be humans becoming more conscious very quickly. So reflecting solar energy away from us is slowing or blocking
Makes
whatever
perfect sense.
the sun is, what changes are going through
Transmitting.
with the sun. And
That makes perfect
that's,
sense.
they're trying to fight some kind of natural change on the earth that they are aware of somehow from their knowledge of history and how the world's moved through it. They want to delay an increase in consciousness in individual people.
Yeah.
That makes
I mean-
that's a really good explanation
But
actually
together
for the
let
end
the
game.
light shine.
Because I keep thinking like that, you know, on the surface level when it's like geoengineering is like an easy, it's like a stopgap for climate change, right? Which is a short-term, I mean, like long game, short-term gain. And but yeah, the more that I've been tuning into like the bigger esoteric themes of what's happening right now, I was like at an astrology reading. Actually, maybe Brian can chime in for a minute, but the person was like that everyone who was writing the Declaration of Independence was well aware of like astrology and esoteric knowledge, and they chose that date and they chose that time and like the cycles that are coming up precisely now. I don't know, Brian, do you have a mic? Do you want to chime in at all about some of the bigger
Yeah, Brian,
picture
sure.
thematic stuff?
You want to
on
come
this?
grab this mic, brother?
Yeah.
Is it working?
Yeah, we hear you.
Let's tap into some astrology right
Well,
now.
I can tell you for certain that, yeah, the founding fathers, kings, queens, I mean, when you go back in time, they used astrology. It wasn't until recently that, you know, we kind of look at it as like a pseudoscience. Like it was alchemy. It was used in alchemical, you know, processes of
And
life.
it was before the Gregorian calendar.
100%. So
Fucking great.
they used it for sure, but I don't know. I don't know what to say with astrology and chemtrails, to be honest with you. But outside of astrology, I feel like there are things that could be done. Like, I think that we have more power than we give ourselves credit for, and if we want to make changes, then we can make changes. The only problem is the change has to be done collectively and like with a big group of people.
Yeah.
And it's hard to get everybody on the same page
Grassroots.
in this world.
But
you
you
know?
gotta start somewhere.
But, you know, I'm sure it costs a lot of money to cloud seed, right? Like that can't be inexpensive.
Right.
So where's the funding come from?
Our tax dollars.
Right.
Soros and Bill
Right.
Gates and
So
all
why-
the billionaires who have, you know, invested in tech engineering as the solution for everything on Earth.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I think majority of it's our tax money. But Soros and them, I guess they probably are in it too. But
That's a whole nother rabbit hole. I think
That's a
Yeah,
whole
I mean,
nother
these
rabbit
guys will
hole.
just print more money. you
Check
know.
it.
It's probably, you know, it's not even about money. They control it, you know. I think on an esoteric level, it kind of makes me think that, you know, they're doing alchemy, They're doing alchemy up in the sky, and as far as we know, it could be some serious spell work. You know,
It's
I've
dark.
just-
It's
there's
dark,
a,
man.
I mean, I've heard a lot of people talk about how America is under a spell. And like, I just
Wake
got
up.
back from Costa Rica, and I literally physically felt that within like 3 days. I felt the release of what I would call an American spell.
Wake up.
You know, and maybe that's the source of this spell. You know, we're like under this field. You know, of
We're breaking the spell, and even this town
the
of
spell.
Nevada City, I think on their website, rumor has it that they did state it is Nevada City is a chemtrail-free zone on their website, and that'd be really cool if it really was.
I mean, that's a hot sales pitch there.
But
You know,
we
I
know
don't-
that ain't true.
There might be some technical things around that, but they're for sure doing something out in Reno, Nevada. There's a lot going on in Nevada that we're getting, and last time, even when I was skiing, you know, on the peaks there in the Nevada-California border, it's like they're definitely doing some stuff
This
right
is a
there at the
global
top.
thing.
That's like
I mean,
more snow,
nationwide.
more, you know, because there's again, on surface level, all the water from Lake Tahoe makes it into Southern California. So like there has to be on the surface level, I think some kind of reference to like look at these solutions that we're offering for getting more water to these drought-ridden areas. And so I think that's like,
And secretly, they're
yeah, and secretly there's
drying
this,
it out even more. You know, because they
Or-
can do both. They
you
can,
know what I call
they can
this
bring the weather
conversation?
in, and they can reduce it down.
It's a
They
black
can
hole
exasperate a
conversation.
storm. You know,
It's a black hole because it goes on forever, but it does get simpler when you start to realize if you want to make a difference, you got to do it at home. So if we can't do it here, we can't do it anywhere, and we can do it here, one by one, everybody coming together collectively with the same vision, an aligned creativity. That's the power of God, Goddess. So we're on the right track. And that's what Nirvana City is all about. And it's all about giving back to the community. Sharon, do you want to do a giveaway? Something for the audience?
oh yeah, right.
A drink?
Mhm.
I think a cool thing would be, can you answer a question? Who owns the patent? Who owns the patent to geoengineering chemtrails? Anybody? Who owns the patent? I need a person.
Yeah,
A person.
I bet there's
We-
Bayer. I bet Bayer's
we
involved.
talked about it earlier. Which person? The person who owns the patent.
George Soros?
He's one of them. Bill Gates. But let's do a quiz. I was trying to do a quiz, but nobody answered. Or who did? Was that you, Chess? You win. Anyways, I think it's time to.
Does anyone want to share a personal anecdote about how they have felt in the presence of atmospheric changes?
There's a mic for you if you want to share anything at all before we close up our evening and have Kendra play another song for us to bless us up. Evan, you got something to say?
Yeah, I don't know if anyone's ever shared this yet.
Come on to the stage, my brother. Good to see you. Blessing.
Hey, welcome, Evan.
Thank you. Hi there. I'm not sure if anyone said this because I'm just joining the conversation late after getting off of work, but one of the things that always blew my mind around chemtrails was like how there's so much, people were like, oh, it's a conspiracy theory and stuff, but you can go, there's public records available for specifically ski resorts, and I heard you talking about Tahoe, but Vail is one of the famous ones. They were the first, as early as the 80s, to start introducing cloud seeding and weather engineering around snow production, and they started that back in the 80s, and they still do it to this day. And it's completely documented in public record of them saying, yes, we literally spray aluminum into the clouds to create atmospheric changes to create snowfall. And that, like, the fact that it hasn't been studied more, it's like all that goes into the snow, which then goes into the runoff, which then goes into the water
Dude,
system.
I remember when we were in Tahoe, I was like, I don't know if you guys should eat the snow.
Yeah.
And I was like looking up at the sky. It's like,
Yeah, so
there might be some
it's
plastic in that snow.
exactly. So it's like it's a very well-known and documented thing, and it's good to hear a conversation around it being like, hey, this is happening, and there's actually starting to be legislation involved in like banning chemtrails.
Tennessee.
Yep. Which
Supposedly.
15 other states that are moving through that right
I'm going to go to Tennessee soon and check it out, actually. I want to see it with my own eyes.
Beautiful clear skies.
And this is a really crazy thing, is that they've actually, it's been documented that in old films, just like how there's re-releases of films where they change some of the content, you know, if any of you are old enough to remember the first Star Wars, it came out, it had its own version, and then they released another version where they changed scenes around, and nowadays they've completely changed like key scenes of the movies, but people that are watching it for the first time now or not, who never saw it in theaters or on original VHS, they'll not see those versions. But what they've been doing now is for remakes of movies, they go and add in chemtrails. And that's actually a documented thing, is they paint chemtrails into the movies so that when kids watch these movies, they're like, oh, this has been around since the 80s or since the 90s. No, it hasn't. It's a thing that's
wild.
Yeah, it makes it really creepy that they're actually going back and painting in these chemtrails so that it's kind of like we're firsthand seeing people trying to rewrite history, and that mandala effect of like, oh, if we change it so that it's always been a thing, then it won't seem crazy, but it hasn't always been a thing, and it is crazy.
So what's the solution, brother?
Well, it seems like Tennessee is on the right track, and it just is being more vocal and involved with local governments, writing letters, leaving messages. Obviously, people are hearing this, and it is kind of an argument for both the planet and health and wellness. So I like to think that not all politicians are evil, and if we can get the ones that are at least on the local level and a little bit more in touch with humanity to see that it is the healthy choice and that it is the ecological choice, then perhaps we can make momentum for California or the United States as a whole. That's my 2 cents.
Yeah, I think that, Gregory, back what you were saying, to reemphasize the point that most political coalitions are based on a common alliance or allegiance, not real connection, communion, collaboration. So I think that is really key, actually, is coming together actually in person as community rather than having like a ideological alliance that doesn't produce boots on the ground results of like connecting and saying like, hey, oh, we see the same thing. We can like talk about it now. Let's talk about it in public and continue like
let's talk about
disseminating
everything.
the communication, the conversation.
We're going to talk about everything on this Nirvana City podcast.
Yeah, I think it is a time of like radical transparency. I hope that's what we're getting to.
On a macro and micro level, I'm seeing that even within, relationships, there's a lot more transparency coming out, I think we're just in that transparency era, We're in the Aquarian times now, Purification with that water.
Yes. Let's have hi goddess. Welcome. Good to see you.
So I just wanted to throw a couple of points out there after
Tell the
listening.
people who you are.
I'm Kayla.
Hi, Kayla.
Mama Kayla in the house. Mama Kayla in the house.
So a lot of the talks tonight about like what we could do have to do or had a lot to do with like reaching out to the people that are in charge of this and that are causing this. And I don't know if that would necessarily be a good first step because they're doing it purposefully and secretively. Why would they have any intention of doing anything for our benefit? Something that I kept wondering tonight is, has anybody like looked into cloudbusters? They're copper coils, large copper coils.
People really do rave about those as solutions.
And then those like renegade organite. I remember when we first moved to town, they were like,
Hey, that's the first step. Let's all get together and build one like right on the roof here, and at
Right.
least get it, Nevada City clear. It doesn't take much, right? It's like 5 feet of copper coil. It's,
Yeah.
It's
I remember looking into that more like 10 years ago, and I haven't looked into it recently. That was like back when the chemtrails conversation was super conspiracy theory. But I think that we should be more focused on what we can do together and as a collective here, not reaching out to politicians, not reaching out to the people in power that are doing this just yet, because I really don't think they have any intention of changing what they're doing.
I agree. I think there's like, the individual pilots, plane pilots, for example, that can be swayed, but not the people who are giving those commands right now because it's serving their interests.
A majority of the planes are actually drones.
yeah.
There are pilots still, but
It was hard for them to get pilots because nobody really wanted to do it. They're like, well, my kids are down there. I got a family down there, Yeah. I really appreciate you bringing that up. We just had like an hour and a half discussion, and we haven't even talked about the cloudbusters,
The cloudbusters, the
yeah.
organite, the cilantro and chlorella cleanses, like what we can do here with our neighbors and our friends.
Micro level.
Yeah.
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 starts with you. If you can't do it here, you can't do it anywhere. And we're doing it here.
So maybe we can actually like come together and build one,
Yeah.
You know how to build one?
No, but I mean, it seems simple enough. I saw it 10 years ago.
I'm sure there's 20 tutorials on YouTube.
I'm sure.
resurrect the temple.
We can make our own
A
tutorial.
chemtrail-free temple.
Yeah, let's do it.
We'll live stream it.
Yeah.
Let's have Kendra come up and do a little song for us to close out the night. Kendra, welcome back to the stage. Can we help her out? Thank y'all for sitting in. Don't go anywhere. Kendra is amazing.
Is that it? Anybody else have anything else to share?
You're welcome. You're welcome. Can we get her a chair, please?
All right.
I met Kendra this morning, basking in the sun. She's like, "Can I play you a song?" And I heard her from a distance. I said, "Oh, please, Lord, yes. Play me some more." And so I've been so lucky to hear you sing all day long. I'm glad that we are recording this. Kendra's a local artist. In my opinion, she's a master.
Thank you. This song is based off of a Allen Ginsberg poem called Howl.
Yeah.
Oh, the tar in my lungs is in love with the tar in your lungs. And the eyes in my hand are in love with the eyes in with you in Rockland, and you're in my dreams, and you come up walking, dripping from the sea. I'm with you in Rockland, and we're electrified from all those comas our souls have survived. And the hands on my arms are in love with the hands on your arms. And the lips on my face are in love with the lips from which you kiss me. And you kiss me, oh, I'm with you in Rockland, and you're in my dreams, and you come up walking, dripping from the sea. I'm with you in Rockland, and we're electrified from all those comas our souls have survived. And I'm in love with you, I am in love with you, and I'm in love with you, I am in love with you. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Gregory. Master guru.
Thank you so much, Kendra. You'll have a beautiful night, and thank you for tuning in. See you next time. Nirvana City. Peace, love, and animals. Dog bless you, Mama Sharon. Last words for the people.
Next podcast is going to be Monday, April 14th. Episode 6 is going to be...
No taxation without representation. I'm very... It sure does. It's all cohesive. Bless, bless, bless the world.
Thanks, y'all.
Thank you, Elixart.
Thanks, Brian, for your help.
Thank you, everybody. I love you. Guruji loves you.